Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emmanuel, and in this video I'll be showing you how to create Dataverse tables using Copilot. If you have ever built tables from scratch, you can tell how slow, repetitive, and a bit frustrating this process can be, especially if you are working on a large-scale project that will require you to build quite a number of tables. Now, when you are manually creating Dataverse tables, it means that you must add every single detail of those tables yourself. Details like the table names, the column names, data types, relationships, and any other thing you may want to add to those tables. And when you are doing all of this by hand, it means that you can easily make mistakes. Mistakes like typos in your field names, using of wrong data types, and even inconsistent naming conventions. And also, when you are defining relationships between tables manually, this can be quite tricky because you will need to manually define which table is connected to which other table. And if you pick a wrong choice of table, or maybe you define your lookup in the wrong direction, this can lead to a breakage of your data model. So yeah, while manually creating Dataverse table would work, it is quite slow, it is a bit repetitive, and it can be prone to errors. And this is exactly why Microsoft introduced Copilot within Dataverse. Copilot allows you to describe your tables in plain language, and then AI goes ahead to build these tables within seconds. And in this video, I'll be showing you a demo of how to make this work. So to create Dataverse tables, you go to make.powerapps.com and then you navigate to tables. Now, there are different options with which we can create Dataverse tables, but we'll be considering just the get started with Copilot option here. So you click on that, and as you can see, we are provided with a text area where we can describe the kind of tables we want Copilot to build. So for the purpose of this demo, I'll be working with 3 different prompts. Let me quickly show the prompts I'll be working with. So we have 3 different prompts here. The first prompt is like an open-ended prompt where we are just telling Copilot to create a data model for an asset management system. Then the second prompt is this, and then we have the third prompt with more information. So I'm doing this to show the kind of response we get based on the kind of prompt we provide for Copilot. Alright, so I'm going to copy this first prompt and then paste it in this text area and click on generate. Alright, so this is the response Copilot provided for us, and when you take a closer look at it, you would see that we have some columns in the asset table, and then we have 1 column each for the location and the assets category. Now, one issue with this data model is that it doesn't really work for any reasonable asset management system. All right. Now, the problem is not with the response. The problem is with the prompt we provided. The prompt was open-ended. We did not provide enough context or enough intent as regards what we are trying to achieve. And once our prompt is lacking in context, once we do not provide enough information in our prompt, we will certainly get responses like this. Alright, so we have the option of further giving prompts in this text area, but I won't be doing this. So let's cancel these tables we created here, and let's use the second prompt. Alright, when you look at this second prompt, we want to ask Copilot to create a data model for an asset management system, and then we are providing the columns we want for the asset management system. Alright, so I'm just going to copy this and then just like we did the other time, I would paste it in this text area and then click on generate. Alright, now this is the response we got for the second prompt, and when you take a closer look at this, you would see that this is quite better than the response we got from the first prompt. However, there are some issues or little issues with this data model. First of all, let's take a look at this this assets table. You would notice that for this asset type, it would have been better if this is a choice field, right? But we are having it as a single line of text here. And this asset location also, this field should be a lookup to a different table, an asset location table, just like we have for the vendor and the manufacturer. And also this invoice column is better off being a lookup to an invoice table. All right. Now for this project manager, the project manager column in the asset table should be a lookup to the user table. All right. So this will be a lookup to a user table. So yeah, why this is a better data model, it still doesn't, there is still a room for a lot of improvement. So I'm just going to go back again, and then we would now use the third prompt. Now for the third prompt, we can see that we have all the tables. Now I have gone a step further to create the choice, inform Copilot that we want this to be a choice field with two options of hardware and software. Then for the purchase date, we want it to be a date only field. Then the project manager, we want it to be, we want it to be a lookup to the custom system user table. Then for the asset location, we are saying that we want many assets to come from one location. So this informs Copilot that this would be a one-to-many relationship or a many-to-one relationship between the asset table and the asset location table. Then we have the vendor, manufacturer, and the invoice. Then we are going a step further again to give some information about the lookup tables that we have in this bullet points here. All right, so I'm just going to copy all of this now and paste it over here. All right, so this is the response we got from the third prompt. Now let's begin from the assets table. Now we have all the tables, we have all the columns just like we stated in the prompt. All these are lookup to their various tables. Then we have the asset type, which is now a choice field. Then we also have the option, when you are creating tables using Copilot, you also have the option to view sample data. Now this is the asset name. You can see the hardware is a drop down or a choice field. Then we have Alice, which is a lookup to a table. We are going to see in the next minute what that table is. Then the location, the vendor, the manufacturer, and also the invoice, which is also a lookup to an invoice table. Alright, so let's cancel this and see the other tables. Now for the invoice table, just like we stated in the prompt, we have the columns just like we stated, then the location, vendor, and manufacturer. But for this user table, we can see that it created or it generated a table for user, but we want it to be connected to the system user table. So to achieve that, we are going to click on this existing table, that is add existing table, and then we type in user, so we can see the user system standard table here, and then we click on add the selected table. Now we have this table over here. So the next step is to, let's view this data again. So the next step is to edit the column where we have the user. Edit the column. So we want this to be a lookup, of course, and then we want it to be connected to the user table. Now we have two user tables here. That's the one that was AI generated, which is this, and then the system or the standard table or custom table we just added, which is this. So as you can see by the other side there, you can see the logical name, system user. So we click on this and then we update. Okay, now we can see that it is giving a validation error because all these names that are currently in this column are not names from the tenants. So we'll go ahead to remove all these names. And then we can see that the validation error is no longer present. Alright, so let's say for example we want to add users. So we can add this user. Let me add another user. Okay, I'll cancel this, and then you can see that the relationship was created automatically because we added this table as a lookup to the assets table. So we can now remove this user table here, and then this way we've been able to create a data model. Within a few minutes we've been able to create a data model for an asset management system. Of course, this would have taken much more time if we were to do all of this manually. Alright, so with this video, I believe we have been able to see how powerful Copilot can be when used to create tables within Dataverse, and also how well we need to structure our prompts, how much context and intent we need to provide to be able to get good response from Copilot. So the more intent and context we're able to provide, the better response we get from Copilot. Alright, if you found this video useful, kindly like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this. See you next time. Bye.